Not all fittings that we use in our models have to come directly from the spec. It's very much possible that we're going to have one-off parts or custom-built parts that have to be put in. We do have a tool that we can use to get this done. Let's take a look at our part insertion panel of our Home tab. You'll see that you do have a tool here that's called Custom Parts, or you can enter it in dynamically, plant custom parts, or just use this tool here. You'll be brought to this dialog box right here. I'm going to go ahead and set this for auto hide so that whenever we're not using it, it'll actually go away. But as I hover over it, you can see we have many things that we can change from here. We can change the part properties, the properties of the port. We can also get into the dimensions and change those as well. What I'm going to do is also point out that in this diagram here, it gives you the dimensions and the corresponding dimensions here. So you can see if you need to change the distance between here and here in dimension 1, you'll see that that's 1'7", and you could actually make those changes and change them here. We're going to go ahead and switch parts. We're going to say we want an inline instrument, and we're going to accept all of these as default. All these dimensions here. I'm even going to keep this only as a placeholder. And then I'm going to go to my shape browser, and I'm going to pick a shape that's going to be used here. I want just a regular inline instrument. So I'll go ahead and pick this segment right here as what I want to do. And then I'm going to say that I want to say OK. And then I'm going to insert this into my model. Now, since I'm going to put this inline, I'm going to use the nearest snap. And once I get the clearance for the nearest snap, I'm going to go ahead and click that in. I'm going to put in my valve number. I'm going to keep this, well, this is no longer a valve. I'll just say that this is going to be a meter, so I'll use that M for that, and I'll keep my loop number at 1. And we'll go ahead and assign this and give it a rotation as well. I'll direct input that rotation. I don't really need to put another one in right now. And now you'll see that I have this in. And remember, these still function just like any other part. You still have all the grips where you can rotate, where you can flip the part, and you can even move the part along. If it's not exactly where you want it, you can move it backwards or forwards. You have the little yellow exclamation point right here, and this is telling you that this is a placeholder part. And in the future, if you need to switch it out, you can also use your substitution. If you have any other valves in this family in your spec, then you'll be able to switch those out. So that's just a little bit on how you can actually build a part in your custom parts builder and then insert it into the model. We can also create our custom parts from parts that we created ourselves in AutoCAD. If you notice, I have a widget here that I created, and you'll notice it's just made up of various 3D solids. But we can use that as an AutoCAD Plant 3D part if we follow a few steps first. First step would be to convert this to a block. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a block, and I'm going to call this piping widget. I'm going to leave the base point at 0, 0, 0 as I created it on here. I'll select the objects, convert it to a block, and I'll allow it to be exploded as well. I say OK. Now when I hover over this, you notice it is a block reference. Now once you have it as a block reference in AutoCAD Plant 3D, now the next step to do get this into your be able to use it as a custom part is to do a what we call a plant part convert. So we'll go ahead and use our dynamic mode for that, and we'll type in plant part convert, and we'll pick the block that we want to convert. And first we have to add a port here. Now I find it's really good to use your ortho when you are determining your ports to make sure that your angles are spot on. What we're going to do is use our node here, I'm sorry, the center of the face to establish this. And then I will come out with the port direction, and I'm going to accept that. I'll add one more, spin this around, use my center once again, and come out with a port direction and accept it. And now I'll go ahead and exit that process. Now that we've taken the AutoCAD solid, converted it into a block, and then did a plant conversion by using our plant part convert tool, it's time for us to go ahead and use this as a custom part. So we'll go ahead to our custom part tool, and we're going to make sure it's set to AutoCAD block. We're going to keep this as an inline instrument, and we're going to choose a block from the model. So we'll go ahead here and we'll select this block. And now you'll see it has come up. It is a placeholder. We could make it a permanent fixture if we want to. We'll keep it in imperial inches. We'll let it adopt the spec when it's placed in, and we'll just keep all of these as the parameters that we're going to use. Of course, if you create a custom part, you'll probably change it to whatever it is that you happen to need. We'll go ahead and insert this model, insert it into the model, and we'll find our pipe. We'll go ahead and first insert it inline. We'll use our nearest since we're doing it inline. And we got an error there just because we don't have some flanges built in that we would normally put in, but that's okay for right now. We'll go ahead and keep this in area 1. We'll keep it as a meter, and we'll keep the loop as number 1. So we'll go ahead and assign that. And we'll go ahead and assign it a direction. Remember, if we were going to add one to the end of the pipe, then we would have to use our node snap. And once we get the node, we can go ahead. We'll get that same flange error, but that's okay for right now. And we can go ahead and assign that. Since it's already been used with that number, we have to have a unique tab here. So we'll go ahead and change this to 002. And now we can assign our angle or our rotation, and we can say enter, and you can see that we have 2 instances of our custom part that we just did from an AutoCAD solid.